Hello, this video is for hypothesis. Hypothesis is a noun. It has two meanings. One is an idea or explanation of something that is based on a few known facts, but that has not yet been proven to be true or correct. So we use that a lot for science. So a basic idea in science is that a scientist makes a guess. They think, maybe something happens in a certain way. Maybe stars are formed in this way. Let's check. Or maybe, or something, give another example of something you can measure more easily. Maybe gravity works in a certain way. Galileo had a hypothesis about how gravity works, so then he decided to climb up on the Leaning Tower and drop some things off of it and measure how they fell, and then he came up with his theory of gravity based on measuring. So science is based on, you start with this guess. It's a guess, but it's an educated guess. So you can see synonym as educated guess, not a random guess. A random guess is an antonym. You start with an educated guess based on a few known facts. And then you go and you test it. You come up with a way that you can, and test it not just once, but a whole bunch of times. That's another thing in science. Like test again and again and again and again and again. If the same thing happens a whole bunch of times, then you can say, well, probably there's a reason why, and then you can figure out what the reason why is based on using a lot of math a lot of times to analyze the results. So, yeah, you take this first guess, you test it, and you decide if it's true or false. So that first guess, based on some evidence, but it's not final, is called a hypothesis. The plural of hypothesis, which you see down there under notes, the plural is hypotheses, Hypotheses, and that's an irregular plural, because I believe that's the way you form plurals in Greek. If you have an is in the singular, it turns into an es in the plural. So hypotheses is plural. And so we can say, in science, experiments test hypotheses. Second definition, guesses and ideas that are not based on certain knowledge. So that's pretty similar, but it's focusing more, I guess, on the ignorance than the knowledge. The first definition is more like, in science, you have to have some facts first. It's not a random guess. The second one is a guess, but it's a guess that's just focusing on the fact that it's not based on certain knowledge, but maybe less formal, less scientific than the first one. It's just a guess. So, so if you look at my second sentence, I actually lost my keys this morning, so that's why I made my sentence. I had a hypothesis about the location of my keys. My several hypotheses that I had were wrong, because I looked for my keys and they were not there where I thought they were. So I made some guesses, not based on certain knowledge. In Spanish, hipótesis. And here's a sentence about literature. The mysterious dark lady of Shakespeare's sonnets. So Shakespeare wrote some poems talking about a dark lady, but he never said what her name was. And so people have theories, or people have ideas, I should say. There have been many hypotheses, so many guesses about her identity. And people try to use some evidence, like they look at the sonnets, they look at the poems, and they say, what is Shakespeare saying? Which lady would fit this description? And then they try to figure out who in history could be the dark lady. But nobody knows for sure. It's a guess, but it's not proven to be correct. And so we can say some word families here. Hypothesize. Sorry to zoom in and out here. Hypothesize. Should have done the parts of speech first, but I forgot. I'm doing my video by hand. Hypothesize is a verb. It's an action to make a hypothesis. And hypothesizing would be describing somebody who is making a hypothesis. Describing the person. Hypothetical means something that's a good word to know because it's used quite a bit. It means it's just a hypothesis. It's not real. It's not really true. It's not proven to exist. So someone could say something about, if you're making an argument about something, you could say, what if, imagine that the world was flat. If the world was flat, we would fall off the edge. And someone could say, well, that's just hypothetical. It's not really, it's not based on certain knowledge, right? It's not true. And even actually, that's not really a good example for the modern times. I guess that would be like before we knew that the earth was round. You might say that. But hypothetical means something that is just a hypothesis. It is not certain knowledge. Hypothetically means it's an adverb, and you'll notice adverbs often end in ly, so that's a clue. Ends in ly. And hypothetically, in a hypothetical way, in a way that is in a way that is not for sure. So we could say, let's speak hypothetically. We'll speak in a way that is based on guesses, educated guesses. That's not based on, speak in a way that's not based on facts. You could say, this article was written hypothetically. It's not written based on facts, it's written based on guesses, educated guesses. So that's about it for hypothesis. Thank you for watching. I'll show you the whole board here for a moment. Thank you for watching, and hope it all makes sense.